Thousands of individuals throughout the state who urgently seek property tax relief and reform via legislation. The legislation we advocate is called the Omnibus Property Tax Reform Relief Bill. It's also more popularly known as the circuit breaker. I hope some of you, if not all, have heard of it. In recent weeks, we finally, since Cuomo has gone in and started talking about the tax levy cap, I think the whole world is opened up to various considerations. Our concern with Governor Cuomo's budget is it contains no property tax relief. There's nothing in it for property taxpayers, many who pay 10, 20, even 50% of their income in property taxes. These New Yorkers have been promised property tax relief during years and years of campaigning by now elected officials. They are not the few. They are not people living beyond their means. They are primary homeowners in their homes for 5, even 50 years. They are one of every 5 homeowners in the state. What virtues a property tax cap may be seen to have as a way to limit spending, it will not provide property tax relief. It will neither reduce nor even cap anyone's actual tax bill. Surprise, surprise. In fact, the tax levy cap is essentially irrelevant to these needs. By way of illustration, let's pretend we're shopping for relief in a grocery store. I see the flashy tax cap package. I pick it up, I turn it around, I read the ingredients. No property tax relief anywhere to be found. Next, I look at the less splashy circuit breaker bottle. Relief based on percentage of income paid in property taxes. Yum! Relief as a credit on state income tax or as a refund check. Yes, I want to know more about this circuit breaker. Let me take it home and try it out. In fact, all kidding aside, go home this evening, go to our website, it's nyspropertytaxreform.org, and find your own family's relief with the circuit breaker calculator on the website. Plug in your gross income and your property taxes and find out how the circuit breaker might reduce your own property tax burdens. So what exactly is the circuit breaker? Here are its chief components. First, it is legislation authored by property tax advocates, educators, and economists. As I said before, it's also known as the Omnibus Property Tax Relief and Reform legislation. It builds on the existing circuit breaker law in place for decades in New York State. 35 states have circuit breaker protection for their taxpayers. The circuit breaker is financial relief for those paying over 6% of their income in property taxes if they earn less than $250,000 and have lived in their homes for more than 5 years. It has relief for renters also. Full relief is actually phased in over a 4-year period in consideration of the state's fiscal situation. Ultimately, the circuit breaker is emergency relief for those most overburdened while we reform school and municipal funding, address mandates, consolidations, and so on. For now, let me give you a real-life example of how the circuit breaker can help a person. Say your income is $80,000. Your property taxes are $8,000, which is 10% of your income. We like to say pull the circuit breaker lever, and your net property tax will be $5,760, 7.2% of your income, rather than 10% of your income. Your net relief, which comes as a income tax credit or a check in the mail, is $2,240. I have about 1 minute to go. Does that sound good? I think so. Many think so. Is it expensive? Not terribly. What will it take? Year one, we need $1 billion, and then there's a 4-year phase-in. Where will we find the money? And I realize that's the crux of the matter. We implore the Assembly to consider 2 reasonable funding options, perhaps both in combination, that could make the desperately needed circuit breaker doable this session. First, extend the millionaire's tax and allocate a portion to homeowners. It makes no sense whatever to deprive the state of some $5 billion in annual revenue by letting the temporary tax expire while the crisis for which it was levied is still upon us. Again, $1 billion could fund the circuit breaker relief the first year. Part 2, begin restructuring STAR, giving its current beneficiaries the choice of staying in STAR or transferring to the circuit breaker. Those who opt for STAR would be grandfathered for as long as they remain in their current homes. However, from a given date onward, STAR would be closed to new entrants. The savings from STAR would grow significantly over time and help fund the circuit breaker. I think I'm sure you understand that the STAR is considered a cost-effective, fairly inefficient type of relief that up until this year has gone to homeowners irrespective of need. In this and any economy, our dollars should be well spent. Taxation should be fair and based on ability to pay. Schools and municipalities should be supported by all taxpayers, not just primarily homeowners. New Yorkers shouldn't have to choose between schools and their homes. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, the